James Pitts.
Hey, what's going on?
What's up, big dog?
What's going on?
Why did you call your brand Anchor Up?
Anchor Up Real Estate Group is based off of me being a Navy chief. The anchor is the actual Navy chief anchor. We're veteran-owned and operated business.
When did you develop that brand?
Developed it about a year and a half ago.
Okay. You said you were a Navy chief. Like, what does that position entail within the Navy? Are you allowed to talk about that?
Yeah. Navy chief is your senior enlisted. It's one of the prestigious ranks to make in the Navy. Your uniforms change. Everything changes. The way you're treated change. You're involved in the chief's mess. So basically now your voice is heard and you're in the room with all the decisions being made.
What was that rise like? So did you go in as an officer already into the military?
No, I was enlisted. So I came in as an E2, came out of boot camp as an E2, went to my first duty station, Camp Pendleton at 1st Marine Division. I made E4, third class petty officer. When I left there in Iraq, I actually got pinned on, my E4 was pinned on in Iraq. Came back and just progressed through the ranks. I progressed pretty quickly. I made chief in 11 years.
Okay.
The normal is 16.
How did your military experience help you transition into the real estate business?
A lot of the leadership traits and the way we analyze people and talk to people in the military. Basic interrogation tactics helps with negotiations.
Dude, are you waterboarding your customers?
No, not waterboarding, but listening to what agents and clients are saying, especially if you're dealing with another agent, listen to what they're saying because they're going to voluntarily give you information that you can use without them knowing. So if you pay attention in negotiations, that will help.
That's an interesting point. Like, have you read Never Split the Difference by Chris Voss?
Mm-hmm.
So, like, the hardest thing in sales for people to learn is how to shut the fuck up and listen. Like, if you listen intently, people are going to tell you exactly what they're looking for. They're going to tell you how to sell them.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So if you just stay quiet long enough, like, you're going to get everything you need from them. There's even like in the Wolf of Wall Street movie when DiCaprio, he first gets that like auto shop and he's teaching all his grunts like the script and he's going through it and he goes, and then you wait and you stay quiet and the person who speaks first loses. Right. And so being quiet and listening intently to what you need, that's such a big skill set. So you're able to leverage your experience in the military to get into the real estate industry. You get a level up in negotiation tactics. Right. I mean, I've seen you from the beginning of your career to where you kind of just exploded onto the industry. And it was crazy, like the type of clout you had from the moment you got licensed all the way through. Like, people were like already following you.
It was definitely a tough journey to go get into real estate. I actually entered for a very great team, Kimson Associates, who they took me under their wing. They're also veteran-owned and operated, and they showed me the ropes. Then going from there and starting my own team and growing a team, it's basically just like being in the military and being senior enlisted and running your shop. All the same stresses, watching out for your agents. My biggest thing is that when agents go to teams, they don't get credit for anything they do. It falls under the team lead, right? So like when you go to a team and let's say a year from now, you're like, you know what, I want to branch off and do my own thing. You're going to leave that team and no one's going to know who you are because you're not going to have a footprint anywhere.
Yeah.
Because all the deals that you did fall under that team. My goal with coming in and starting a team was to make sure that all the agents under us get credit for what they do and that their face is being branded to our brand. I really wanted to be different than every other team in the aspect of making sure to take care of the agent.
How many agents do you have on your team right now?
We have 2.
2 agents? And then you have interns?
We have interns.
That's awesome. Can you talk about the developmental program that you're starting?
We just got approved to be part of the military bridge program. So every 6 weeks, we will be getting interns that are still currently active duty, that are 6 months or less away from separation or retirement. So they'll come to us basically, TAD, which is temporary assigned duty. They don't have to wear a uniform. They come to us for 6 weeks. They work under us for 6 weeks. We take them through an entire training pipeline on teaching them how to be an agent. And if they show potential and they hit the ground running with us, we'll pay for their license as well.
That's awesome.
So it's a way that we give back to the military. We don't charge. It's free. Like, our agents take the time. You as our lender take the time to work with these guys. It's a way that we give back to the community. We're not asking for anything in return. We have our first intern that just graduated. He's getting ready to retire here 2 weeks from now.
Yep.
After like 23 years in the Marine Corps. He's still currently going through his licensing program.
Which we paid for.
We paid for 100%.
Yep, exactly.
So he will be able to retire out of the military, take his real estate exam. And the good thing is he already knows what to do. He's already ahead of everyone that didn't do an internship program that just studied for the real estate exam. That's
a huge opportunity. And I have another intern that reached out to me yesterday, right? And like, we really haven't even talked a lot about the nonprofit part of it, but that could be such a huge opportunity for veterans to have that transitionary period. And like, it really helps with, like, for us, it's huge because all the corporations are going to want to hire them because they come with a disciplined background, right? They come with like a different type of hustle than most people. And for us to be able to like leverage that opportunity through Military Bridge is huge.
I mean, like, the intern that we just got done, he was going to be starting the Marine Corps. He's a company gunny, 300 Marines under his charge. There should be no reason why he can't do anything in real estate. When you have 300 people under your charge and you're managing 300 people, this is an easy day.
I mean, one of the big things for him is going to be to be able to call on all those people and say, hey, this is what I'm doing.
Yeah, so a big thing that we teach too is social media and how to leverage social media, especially with the active duty members. Just reaching out to people and starting having conversations with people that you probably didn't think you were ever going to talk to. That was one of my biggest things too when I was interning, was reaching out to people who I probably didn't think I was ever going to talk to and starting conversations. And it actually helped me mentally too, because I still keep in touch with them now. We're all retired. You know, we all communicate through social media or Messenger. And it's just a good thing. You're just keeping in touch with people.
How many touch points do you say you do per day?
We do a minimum of 75 calls per the team. That's just straight prospecting. That's not including your sphere of influence, text message, follow up with your hot leads. That's just basic prospecting of people you have made contact with. Is 75 calls a day, plus at least 5 to 6 people on your social media that you haven't talked to, or at least just start conversations with people.
That's pretty awesome. And how, like, do you have metrics as far as like what kind of returns you get based on how many conversations you have to initiate?
Yeah, we have metrics. Like, for example, if it takes you 100 phone calls for you to make one contact and you're looking to make 2 contacts, you need to at least do 200 phone calls that day. And if you know that it takes you 5 contacts to at least get 1 contact to the lender, all you have to do is the math and just continue to grind, and you'll get to the numbers you want to get to.
That's awesome. What do you find like motivates you when you're trying to when you're 60 calls in and no one's answered? Like, what mental like tools you gotta have to be able to be like, fuck, I got 15 more?
Some days it's just bad. Some days, like, you get to like your 30th phone call and you have your headset on and you're just tired of hearing that ringing tone. Like, it's definitely, in real estate, it's ups and downs, right? Because it's not a job, it's a hustle. If you don't work, you don't get paid.
Yeah.
So if you're not making calls, if you're not telling people you're a real estate agent, you're not going to make any money. So it weighs on people. You'll see people that, I mean, it's happened to me, where dropping escrows like crazy, like to the point to where you're like, I can't handle any more escrows. And people are calling you like, hey, I want to buy a house. I want a house next week. To where like you start and you go 60 days and you're like, man, I haven't put an escrow in 60 days. Like, what is wrong? You know, the market's changing. That's another stressful thing to endure right now with the teams, is how we're going to counter that. You're going to start seeing the people with more processes and the people that have standardized ways that they take care of their leads that are going to be the more successful. It's going to go back to being skill-based and knowledge-based.
Yeah.
You're not going to be able to be a 19-year-old real estate agent right out of high school with no life trying to sell houses, $1 million homes, because you watch $1 million listing on TV. It's just not going to happen because you don't have the experience.
Well, not for us. We're not pretty enough.
But it's based off skill and based off knowledge.
That's fucking awesome, bro. Like, dude, it really is going to come back to like the tricks of the trade, right? Like fucking phone calls. Sometimes you still get lucky. Like speaking for myself, like I'm lucky enough to like I dropped an escrow this week that just like fell on my lap, right? Like we still get that, but dude, like last year, like 2 deals a week were falling on my lap,
Oh, it was crazy.
right? Like it was insane. And now it's like, how many fucking phone calls do I got to make just to stay afloat? And how many people am I contacting? Like it's a whole different ball game. I think for on the lend side, it's like a lot of lenders we forgot we were salespeople. So then to develop those skills to be salespeople again, it's a grind.
Mm-hmm.
And then having those disciplines like when am I calling versus when am I working on my escrows, that's a whole different ball game. But then when you said right now, like you have 5, 6 escrows going, and then you're like, fuck, I can't even take on another one. That's where like the systems on the back end come in, right? That's where developing bottleneck management and all that skill set really comes into place. But you're right though, like the skilled players are going to survive. And then after this, like,
I mean, I'm seeing it already. I'm seeing agents drop right now. And it's sad to say, but I'm just going to say the strong will survive.
Thank God.
That's what it's going to be. The strong will survive.
Dude, I'm juiced on it. Did you see the Loan Depot shut down their entire retail division?
Mm-hmm.
They lost $232 million in Q2. That's a shit ton of money, man. $250 million. Can you imagine that?
Things are going to change, and it's going to be based off skill. It's going to be based off how well these agents are watching the market. You're seeing price reductions right now, and you're seeing a lot of price reductions because agents are pricing homes high, and they're allowing sellers to come in and say, well, this is what my neighbor sold last year, or this is what we just sold for. Like, well, the market changed, and that's not the prices anymore. You can't list 20, 30,000 over market value and still have 40 people write offers on a home. It's just not going to happen.
Would you say right now we're at a peak? We've already like ended the peak, so like sell now before it dips any further, or do you think this is more of a stabilization?
Right now, it's more of a stabilization. I don't even think we're at 30 days on market in the current markets that we're at. I think we're close. We're at like 22. Some markets are at 26. Just like how they define recession, we're not going to change what we say. It's 30 days on market is a stable market.
Yeah.
So the normal will be homes will sit for 60 to 90 days, and that will be the norm. You'll be able to list a home, and that first 2 weeks maybe have 3 or 4 showings. Like when we first started, when we were going through listings, I mean, you had houses that were listed for 2 weeks, and you might be the first one in there.
Yep.
That means it'll go back to being a buyer's market, because now you're going to be able to negotiate, and the sellers don't have the power anymore.
Yep. I think you got a buyer's market. I think we're in the beginning phases of a buyer's market.
We're already getting closing costs for our vets.
Yeah, 100%. And the down payment assistance loans are all back. If they don't run out of funding, like that's what keeps us afloat for the next year. I was talking to my CEO yesterday. He's like, dude, you got to hold on until the end of spring of 2023. He goes, and after that, fucking grab on, dude. He goes, because the next like year after that is going to be insane with rates dropping.
But why? Well, why are the rates going to drop?
Because they're going to prep for the presidential election.
Exactly. So like that's what I'm telling my clients now. Like vets that aren't ready to buy, they might not have the great credit score. We're 6 months out to election season.
Yeah, but
then we have election year.
They got like all the funny financials got to go now. All the funny financials have opportunities to buy right now, because in a year from now, it's going to be back to like guys with our type of financials that can get into homes. But the funny financing, they got to go now. It's funny, like I had a listing agent text me yesterday on a $1.7 million deal. And he goes, you got to remove contingencies. First off, I'm not a fucking agent guy, so it's not my job. Second, fuck off. I was like, good luck going back on market. And then like 2 months ago, there's no way I could have sent a snarky ass response like that. But now it's like, okay, well, you want to go back on the market? Good luck getting your $1.7 million house sold right now.
Right. I mean, there's homes that we're going through and we're writing offers on, and you can straight ask the listing agent, when do you think you'll get another viable offer?
Yeah, you'll get 1.6 if you're lucky.
And the longer it sits on market, then people are going to come in and try to lowball, because now people are going to get desperate.
So, I mean, I don't know, man. It's just it's a wild place. It's pretty exciting right now with the adjustments you can make. Because right now, like everything's also going to start to get cheaper. Like watch leads are going to all start to drop in price. You're going to be able to pick up quite a bit of market share. And like as more agents start to drop off, it's just going to be that much better. Dude, I got in an Uber on Saturday, and the fucking Uber driver's like, "What do you do?" I'm like, "I'm a mortgage guy." And then I was like, "What are you doing?" You know, he's like, "Tell me about Uber." He goes, I wouldn't do mortgage if it was the last thing on earth. So I did it for 30 years. It's the devil's industry." And I go, 30 years? You must have been doing it wrong. If I'm still doing mortgages, fucking knock on wood, in 30 years, I'm going to fucking kill myself. Like, fuck that shit. And I was like, you must have been doing, but he was like, yeah, Dodd-Frank fucked me up. So the '08 crash, right, when they started regulations. And I was like, oh, well, bro, because you weren't a loan officer. You were just trying to fuck people. Yeah, that's why you were driving for Uber now.
That's before predatory, what was it? Predatory lending?
Predatory lending. He's like, I used to make 4 points on a deal. Well, fuck, imagine that. Like, but that's, dude, what's crazy is those loans are starting to come back. Like, I'm doing a stated income loan right now. It's still a lot of docs, but it's still stated income. Like, I was like, maybe this shouldn't go.
I mean, and that needs to go to the consumer. The consumers need to do the research and make sure they're getting into the right loans. Because I feel like in the '08 crash, there was a lot of hype between the interest-only loans, right? Yeah. I mean, I was active duty, and I was seeing E2 sailors right out of boot camp, E3, E4 sailors right out of boot camp buying $700,000 homes because they're only paying interest only, then had that balloon payment 5 or 10 years from now. Yep. That's what caused the crash. And it's about knowing what you're trying to do as a homeowner. And if you're just looking to purchase a home, you got to look at it as it's your investment property. Like, regardless, it's an investment that you get to use. That's going to make you money. Like the loan that we just closed, we're getting ready to do another one. We just closed an escrow, me and you did, on a lady that we sold a house, that condo to. 2 years ago. Yep. She was in the house for 2 years, exactly 2 years. We actually closed escrow 2 years and 2 days later. She put $4,000 to get in because she went in for the teachers program, right? First time home buyer program, 3U teachers program.
Hold on. That's the down payment assistance program through Golden State Finance Authority, which we still do. You can get a house with less than 5 G's out of pocket.
Good plug. But we just sold her house. We sold her house above list.
Yep.
And
bro, she timed it so perfectly by accident too.
I'm not going to say the amount she walked away with is very substantial.
Yeah.
I would give you $4,000 to walk away with her money in 2 years. I'll give you double that right now. If you promise me that amount of money in 2 years.
Bro, her growth was like insane.
We have a listing. I have a listing coming soon. Another client that I sold a house to 2 years ago.
Oh, and that was the same program.
Same program. You're the lender on it. Where they are walking away with a substantial amount. And what they're doing now, and it's good, their family is growing. They outgrew that home. Yep. And now they're going to take that amount of money that they made in 2 years and buy their forever home that they're going to retire in.
Guys, and we're talking 6 figures, huh? Like six figures plus on investments under $5,000.
In 2 years.
Come on, tell me your guy at Edward Jones, at Fidelity, at Vanguard is going to get you that return. Not going to happen.
If you know someone, please let me know. I'll sign up with them today.
Yeah. Drop their email in the comments. It's not going to happen. Yeah. You're right, though. Like that, those programs are huge. But it was timing and luck, right? Like the timing that they got in right before the explosion when those loans were still being accepted, those offers were still being accepted. And then like coming out of it at the end of the wave. It's pretty huge, man.
I mean, we had a lot of clients that were on the cusp, and it was hard to get them homes. Because of the loan caps in Riverside County. But they stuck it through, and those clients that stuck it through have a substantial amount of equity because we all got them into homes. It might have took us a little bit long because that was when people were writing 40 offers on a house. Yep. You know, and the loan requirement, the loan limit couldn't go over it. And they are very happy right now. Do not look at the current interest rates now and the current market now to stop you from buying a home.
Dude, well, what's crazy with us is like when you were first getting in, like you and I were, like you were first getting in and I was first like having my first like step up, right? Like I was going from like just getting in the industry. I started getting escrows and then you were the one that got me in a KSA and then like helped me take that next level up. But like that's what blew us up was like we were doing those loans. We did quite a few loans where like we got people with less than $2,000, and we did fuck ton less than $5,000.
We did,
and that was the niche.
We did one family last year, a year and a half ago, military family, Army, old school Army was out by like 87, 100% disabled. We got them into a home. remember? And we contacted our veteran sources, and we had the home fully furnished for her. So the day that we gave them keys,
That's right.
they walked in, the house was furnished. They had nothing. They were living with family members,
Yep.
and they didn't have the means to go ahead and purchase furniture. When we handed them keys, they had washer, dryer, fridge, sofas, TVs, coffee tables. The whole house was done for them.
Dude, that was a huge win.
Mm-hmm.
That was such a amazing story too.
And we have one this year with Herbert, one of our agents, with the Vietnam vet. He actually made $500. We got everything taken care of from. We had Home Guard do the home inspection. They did it. They waived their home inspection fee due to the fact that he was a Vietnam vet. And we got a bunch of stuff waived. We found money for them, and they actually made $500 to move in.
Yeah, I think the moral of the story here is if you're a vet over 580 and have a few grand in your bank account, James can get you a home. And if you're not, if you're a civilian, and you got a 640 FICO and about 5 G's in the bank, if you got a decent job, we're going to do everything we can to get you a home. We're going to log out, but how can people get a hold of you?
Well, I'll go ahead and put the information on the link.
Okay. All right, guys. James Pitts, Anchor Up, one of the top dogs in the industry. Peace out, y'all.
Thank you.